Module 4, Lesson 19. We'll be converting measures involving whole numbers and solving multi-step word problems. So let's take a look at B here. Once again, A is done for you. We're going to jump straight to B. So it says we have 6 feet, and we know that 6 feet is equal to a certain amount of yards. Well, I don't know. Well, I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So now we're saying, well, if 3 feet is 1 yard, then 1 foot is equal to how much of a yard? Yes, that is correct. 1/3 of a yard. If we know that 1 foot is equal to 1/3 of a yard, then when we see this 1 foot here, we can swap that out and put in 1/3 of a yard. So now we say, well, 6 times 1/3 of a yard is equal to 6 times 1/3, and that would be 6/3. 6/3 is equal to 2. Answer would be 2 yards. All right, we're going to jump right into C here. So 5 inches is equal to how many feet? I don't know, but I know that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. So if 12 inches is equal to 1 foot, then 1 inch is equal to, you guessed it, 1/12 of a foot. All right, so let's go ahead and separate. First step we're going to do is separate. We need to separate these two things. We need to separate our 5 from our inches. So 5 inches is equal to 5 times 1 inch. All right, next, we know that 1 inch is equal to 1/12 of a foot. So we can sub that out and take our 5 times 1/12. Now we're changing from inches to feet, 1/12 of a foot, and we know that this is going to be equal to 1 times 5/12, and that is 5/12 of a foot. That would be the answer. All right, same thing here. We can use this same chart. We don't have to rewrite that. We know that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. So we have 14 inches is equal to how many feet? Well, we know it's going to be 1 whole foot and 2 inches. So let's go ahead and walk through our steps here. So 14 inches is equal to 14 times 1 inch. We know what 1 inch is equal to, so let's go ahead and sub it out. So that would be 14 times 1/12 of an inch. Then we would have 14 times 1/12, which is 14/12. We can take 12/12 to get a whole, and then we would have 2/12 left, and that can be our answer. Now, of course, we could simplify this 2/12 and say that the GCF of 2 and 12, greatest common factor would be, well, what times what equals 2? 1 and 2. What times what equals 12? We know it's 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. We know that our greatest common factor is 2, so if we divide by 2, we get 1 and 1/6 of a foot. Now, when I said divide by 2, I meant I divide our numerator and denominator by 2/2, so it's fraction form of 1. All right, let's take a look at E. So we have 7 ounces is equal to how many pounds? Well, we know that 16 ounces equals 1 pound. OZ's for ounces, LB's for pounds. Let's make that look like a 1. So 1 ounce is going to be 1/16 of a pound. So we have 7 ounces is equal to 7 times 1 ounce. That's why it's important. The separation is important because now we can do our second step, which is substitute. So now we're going to take out this 1 ounce and put in 1/16 of a pound because we're trying to get to pounds. So now we have 7 ounces, that's 7 OZ. 7 ounces is equal to 7 times, instead of 1 ounce, we're going to say it's equal to 7 times 1/16 of a pound, because 1/16 of a pound will be 1 ounce. All right, so now we have 7 times 1. You can rewrite that like that if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and write it as 7/16 of a pound. All right, same thing. We can use the same information here. We know that 16 ounces is equal to 1 pound, so 20 ounces is going to be more than 1 pound. It's going to be 1 pound, not quite 2 pounds, but it's going to be 1 pound and 4 ounces. Let's go ahead and break that down. We said 20 ounces equal to 20 times 1 ounce. We know that 1 ounce is equal to 1/16 of a pound, so this is going to be equal to 20 times 1/16 of a pound. Substitute. First was to separate, then we substitute. Now we say, well, 20 times 1 is 20 over 16. 16/16 would be 1 whole. 17, 18, 19, 20 for our 4/16. We know that the greatest common factor of 4 and 16 is going to be 4. The GCF of 4 and 16 is 4. Remember, what times what equals 4? 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. What times what equals 16? 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 times 4. So if we bridge those together, it will be 1 and 16 go together, 2 and 8 go together, and 4 and 4 go together. So we have, when we divide, we're going to say, well, 4 divided by 4. Remember, this is 4, but it's a fraction form of 1. Anything divided by 1 is going to give you a self. So we are going to take we're only dividing our fraction, not the 1. So we have our 1, and now we're trying to simplify our fraction. So we have 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. Now we have pints and quarts, and we know that 1 quart equals 2 pints. So if we know that information, we can simply do our strategy where we take our pints and separate it. That's equal to 1 pint, 1 times 1 pint. And then we say, well, if we know that 1 quart equals 2 pints, then a half of quart is going to be equal to 1 pint. We have to multiply by a half of quart, and we get 1 times 1 over 2, which is 1/2. All right. Well, now we just said we have our answer here for G. We're going to use that to help us solve H. We have 1 pint equals half of quart. So wherever we see, when we come up with our 1 pint, we can now sub in just like we did here. So let's see, 4 pints equals 4 times 1 pint. You should notice something. Now, instead of 1 pint, we can say equals 4 times half of quart. So now we have 4 times 1 over 2 equals 4 halves of a pint, which equals 2. Excuse me, that was 4 halves of a quart, which equals 2 quarts. So we have word problems now. Marty buys 12 ounces of granola. What fraction of a pound of granola did Marty buy? So she bought 12 ounces of 1 pound. 16 ounces equal to 1 pound. So we said that we were trying to calculate 12. So we said 1 ounce would be equal to 1/16 of a pound. 12 times 1 ounce, and that's equal to 12 times 1/16 of a pound. We have 12/16. So she bought 12, she or he, 12/16 of a pound. Gives our simplified version. That's 3/4. It says, all right, if a whole pound of granola costs $4, how much did Marty pay? So we know she paid 3/4. So this is a whole pound, cost $4. She paid 3/4. So she paid 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. We're talking about dollars, that would be each fourth would make up $1. So I'm not looking at the whole four, I'm just looking at what Marty paid. And the answer should be she paid $3. All right, so there's our answer for A and B. Marty purchased 3/4 of a pound of granola and she paid $3 for that granola. All right, looking at our next problem here. Sarah and her dad visit Yo-Yo Yogurt again. This time the scale says that Sarah had 14 ounces of vanilla yogurt in her cup. Her father's yogurt weighed half as much. How many pounds of frozen yogurt did they buy altogether on this visit? Express your answer as a mixed number. So we know that Sarah had 14 ounces and her dad had half. So half of 14. If you don't know how to do this, we can just divide by 2. Well, we say, well, how many times is 2 going to 14? Let's skip count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So we know 7 times. So 7 times 2 is 14. Goes evenly. So we know that Sarah had 14 ounces and her dad had 7 ounces. We add those together, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Have to regroup. 110 plus 110 is 2 10s. We have 21 ounces in all. So it says how many pounds of yogurt did we have? So we know that 16 ounces equals 1 pound. So 1 ounce is going to be equal to 1/16. Remember we said if you look at it, that one's going up top and the 16 is coming down the bottom. As long as you're setting it up this way. All right, so it's 1/16 of a pound. So now we say, well, we have 21. So 21 ounces is equal to blank pounds. We say, well, it's equal to, first we got to separate it, and it's 21 times 1 ounce. Now we're going to sub in instead of having 21 times 1 ounce. Remember, when we're talking about ounces, it gets a little confusing because that looks like 102, but I assure you that it's not 102. It is 1 ounce. Let's rewrite that, see if I can neaten it up a little bit. 21 times 1 ounce is equal to 21 times, instead of 1 ounce, we're going to sub in 1/16 of a pound. All right, so 1/16 of a pound times 21, we have 21/16 of a pound. And it says express our answer as a mixed number. I'm going to go ahead and say, well, 16/16 would be 1 whole pound. And then we have 5/16 remaining, whole pound, and 5/16 of a pound. All right, let's look at this. So Ms. Feld uses 1 quart of blue paint each month. In 1 year, how many gallons of paint will she use? So let's see. We're going to assume that we're talking about 1 calendar year, not 1 school year. So each month she uses 1 quart of paint. They want to know how many gallons she's going to use. So before we can do anything, we have to know that 4 quarts equal 1 gallon. So we need to know that 1 quart equals 1/4 of a gallon. All right. Remember, quart sounds very close to quarter, right? It's 1/4 of a gallon. We know that she uses 12 quarts because 1 quart each month would be 12 quarts equals how many gallons? So we say 12 is equal to, 12 quarts equal to 12 times 1 quart, and that's equal to 12 times 1/4 of a gallon, and that's equal to 12/4 of a gallon. And then we can say, well, I know that this mixed number can be divided. 12 divided by 4 here. Say, well, 3 times 4 equals 12, so 12 divided by 4 equals 3. Using that inverse operation if you're not sure your multiplication. 3 times 12 is 12, 3 times 4 is 12. Do the subtraction, it goes in evenly. We know this is 3 gallons of paint was used by Ms. Feld throughout the year. That is the end of this homework. Hopefully this helps. Please make sure you have every problem on your paper filled out, and make sure that you go over this video and have everything correct. As always, stay smart and keep learning.